it's Lisa. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be making a shadow box Easter card using a brand new stamp set from the Stamps of Life called Easter Kids for HSN. Now, before we get started with this card tutorial, go ahead and click that subscribe button and turn on your bell notifications if you're not already a subscriber. Now, this stamp and die set will only be sold on HSN, so if you're interested in this product, you'll need to head over to HSN's website and take a look at it on there. But it basically comes with these adorable Easter stamps. You have the Easter egg with a little I'm assuming that's a little boy inside the little costume, and then here is a another one dressed up like an Easter bunny. And then their sentiments: Happy Easter, my friend, Happy Easter, you're such a good egg. And then there's also the dies to match. So if you don't like to color, you can paper piece and you can die cut your dies and do some paper piecing. I've already done some coloring. I'm not going to show the coloring, but I did color these up with my Arteza Everblend art markers, and I already die cut them using the shadow dies. So now we're just going to go ahead and put this card together. I'm going to be using this shadow box. It's the 5x7 shadow box, so it does make a larger card, and it does fold flat for mailing. And I have done a few tutorials on this on my YouTube channel on making various cards with this shadow box, so some of you may be familiar with it. But what I like about it is that you can actually make a card that's almost like a 3D card because it has a lot of definition and depth to it. So in that die set, it has this large die, which that makes the outside of your card. It makes the actual shadow box, and you're gonna need to die cut that twice. So I did die cut it once here out of the candy, and I'm gonna die cut it again, but the second time that I die cut it, I need to add a die in the inside to cut out a frame. Okay, so in the shadow box die set, there are these two square dies, and you can choose to have a larger frame or a smaller frame. And if you wanted to, you don't even have to use these square dies. You can die cut this out of any shape. So if you wanted to die cut this out of a circle, you can do that. So what I'm going to do is just make sure that this middle die is centered within the larger die as best as I can, and then I'm going to just add some washi tape just to keep those together, and then I'll run this through my die cut machine. So when this one comes out of your die cut machine, just remove the excess paper, carefully remove your washi tape. You don't need this middle piece, but you definitely can save this for if you need, you know, you can definitely save it as a scrap. And look at that, mess that up, but that's okay. So this is the piece that you're going to be using for your shadow box. So here you have your two pieces cut out of this one die. This will be the back, and then this will be the front with the window. So on these dies, there are some score lines. So we're just gonna fold at those score lines. Just take your bone folder, you can press that down. So there's two here. So we're just gonna fold at both places. Okay, and we're gonna do the same thing for this one. And now we're gonna just hook these together, and it's really simple to hook them together. So you're just gonna add glue. So we're gonna put glue here. Just line that up, press that down. And then do the same with the other one. So we're gonna put glue on this flap. And then just join that with the back part of the shadow box. And then just press that down. So the actual structure there of the shadow box is now complete. So when you're actually mailing this, just want to press these down one more time. When you're mailing this, you would just lay it flat like this, and it would go in an envelope. But look at that, pretty easy, and it stands up just like that. So next I took a piece of Blue Jay cardstock, and I die cut the large square again. That's going to be for the background of this shadow box, and that's just going to represent my sky. So that will go just like that. But I want to create a little scene on this sheet. And I decided to take my tree die. This is from the Tree Folded die set from the Stamps of Life. And I die cut the tree part, the top part here out of this pattern paper, and then the bottom part was die cut out of this wood grain pattern paper. So just in case you wanted to know what pads those came from, I have this paper from the Spring Basics collection, and I don't know if these are for sale on their website. And then the wood grain paper is from the Love Life collection. These may be sold out, I don't know for certain. So I'm gonna go ahead and ink up the edges before I adhere this to the square Blue Jay cardstock. And actually, you're not even gonna see the bottom, probably just see the sides of this. And then that was the Ginger Snap ink, and then I'm gonna use my Kiwi ink to ink up the actual top part of the tree. And I choose my inks based on the color paper. So this is the Kiwi paper from the Stamps of Life, which matches their Kiwi ink. So adding some ink just adds just a little bit of more definition. All right, so now we're just gonna put this tree together. Now, this will go off of my page, which that's what I want. That's what's intended. It's gonna have to go off of the page because it's not gonna fit. But that's not a big deal because we're just gonna cut off the excess. And I don't wanna put it right smack in the middle. I'm gonna kind of put it off the side a little bit. I'll go ahead and add this part first. Now this does have a shadow layer. I'm not using the shadow layer. I'm just gonna add this directly to the cardstock. And I probably didn't need to put glue all the way around the sides. But I wanna make sure that this comes high enough, because if I don't make sure it comes high enough, you're not gonna be able to see it, because the shadow box is actually gonna have some hills in it. There's like a little hill border within this die set. And with how large these stamps are, I just wanna make sure that you'll be able to see a little bit of that tree. Otherwise, there was no point in putting it down, right? I left a little bit open there, which you gotta tuck that part underneath. So we'll go ahead and add this. So this needs to go underneath. We'll add that and just wipe up any of that glue. Now this die, just so you know, this tree die, it actually makes a card shaped like a tree. And I did a video on that as well. And I can link that below in case you want to go back and see that. But I actually made a card shaped like a tree. It's an actual 5x7 card, and just made a cute little scene on it. All right, so there's my tree. Isn't that cute? I think we'll add some clouds in here and just make a little cute little scene, and then we'll add that to our shadow box. So I die cut 2 clouds. So just real quick, that shadow box that comes with all of these dies, you have a sun, there's flowers, there's a bumblebee, there's a butterfly, there's a ladybug, there's another little ladybug. So there's several dies, and then there's this cloud die. So I just die cut these out of the white, which is the powdered sugar Stamps of Life cardstock. And just to add some dimension, I'm just putting some Blue Jay ink. You could also do a gray ink if you wanted to, like the cloud, which is a light gray. The cloud ink, I should say. So we'll add that, and then I'm gonna add these to the background here. So I'm gonna go ahead and add glue to the back of this, and we'll add this to the back of the shadow box. Now, if it's easier for you, you could have not closed up your shadow box, added this background piece, and then closed up the shadow box. But I'm just gonna slide this in here just like this. Just make sure that it's straight. All right, next in the shadow box die set is this die. And I die cut that twice out of the Kiwi cardstock. And I'm going to ink up with some Kiwi ink the edges. So I want you to notice that when you die cut it, there is stitching all around and there's score lines. And you can put these in your shadow box just for some extra layers and extra definition. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have one with the taller part of that hill on the right-hand side, and then I'm just gonna turn one over, and then even though they're identical, now you'll have the taller part here on the left. So that's how I'm gonna ink them up. So one is gonna be inked with the taller part on the right, and then the other one with the taller part on the left. All right, so we're just gonna fold here at the score lines on both of them. And this one I already did. So next I'm just gonna add some glue to the sides. I'm gonna add glue to both sides. And I'm gonna put the first one in all the way against the back wall of my shadow box. So it's actually gonna be flush with that back wall on each side. Okay, so just make sure that it is flush, and also make sure that you can't see any of the edge here extending below your shadow box, because then it won't stand up straight. You want to still make sure that it's standing up straight and you have a flat edge. Okay, so let me fix that. All right, so just real quick again, just make sure that that piece is flush with that score line in the back on both sides. And then just press that down. And then you're gonna do the same thing, only this time I'm gonna have the taller part in the front. So we're gonna put glue on the flaps and then slide that in. And I'm just going to put it so that it is even with the other one on both sides. And just press that down. All right, so just so you can kind of get a look and see what that looks like. Hopefully you can see in there how they are attached. Okay, and then you can see how you have definition here, and you can put your stamped images on these cute little hills that you made. So this little guy is gonna go here on the left just because he's so big. I don't want him to cover up that tree. So when you add him, and he's gonna be covering up one of the clouds, which no big deal. And then this little guy will go here in the front on the right-hand side. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some glue. I really don't know how much glue I'm gonna need here, but we'll see. So you don't have to put him too far down, but you definitely don't want him to go above this part of your shadow box. And I think I got just enough glue. And then we'll do the same thing for this one. So he needs glue about to the bottom of his hands. So make sure you're not putting glue on the whole thing, because if you are, then you'll have an issue. It'll stick to the back of your shadow box when you close it. Next, I'm going to stamp out some of these Easter eggs from the Eggs for Easter set. It comes with these eggs that you just have to stamp out in any color ink you want, and it will turn into a beautiful Easter egg. And it also has these jelly beans, which I'm not sure if I'm going to use those or not, so we will see. So I'm going to go ahead and just have a piece of just scratch paper here. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp some of these up in a couple different patterns just to kind of see what they look like, and then just find the inks that you want to use. So I have my candy ink, so I'm going to go ahead and ink up this one here, and then I have my ocean ink. Isn't that great? So you don't have to color these. No coloring involved. It just stamps out a solid fill with a beautiful pattern. And then this is the pixie ink. It's a little bit lighter, so I don't know if I'm gonna actually use this one. I might have to go with a darker one. I'm gonna try the grape and see if I like that one any better. That's a little bit darker of a purple. Yeah, that's much better, much more vibrant. So there are some matching dies to die cut these eggs. So I'm gonna go ahead and die cut these so that I can use these on my card. So I'm just gonna put some washi tape so I can make sure I get a good cut. I'm also going to stamp out a sentiment. It's the Hoppy Easter. I'm just stamping that onto some white cardstock, and I will just cut that out. Let me do that one more time. I'm not happy with how that came out. There we go. So now I'm just gonna take my scissors and just trim that around. Next, I cut a fence using the fence die out of some white cardstock. I'm just gonna ink up the edges with some cloud ink, just to add some dimension to it. I also cut a piece of grass using the grass die from the Borders set. So it's this die here, and I'm gonna ink this up with some kiwi ink. So this fence fits perfectly on the entire width of my shadow box, as you can see here. And then the grass is gonna go right towards the bottom. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and add the fence. And when you're adding the fence, you have to be careful about where you're putting your glue. So I'm gonna put glue here. I'm gonna put it all across this bottom strip and then here on the side. Don't wanna put any in the middle, because if you put it in the middle, it's gonna get all over your stamped images. Okay, so just press it all along the bottom so that everything stays in place. Okay, then I'm gonna add my Easter eggs. And the Easter eggs are gonna sit behind the grass. The grass is going to sit all the way at the bottom of the card, and then the eggs will sit behind that. Now I am putting glue just all along the back, but I think what I'm going to do is either just wipe it up with my finger or just don't close the shadow box until I know that it's completely dry. Okay, and then we'll just add this. Make sure that comes along the edge. Then you can just take your scissors. I'm just gonna come from behind and snip off that extra there. What a cute little scene, isn't that cute? So for the sentiment, there's a couple things that I was thinking. I can either put it here on the fence, like that. I could put it up here in the top corner. But I was also thinking I could make a little sign and put it here next to this bunny. So I just cut out some ginger snap cardstock into a thin strip, and I'm gonna kind of make it look like the bunny's holding the sign. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what it ends up looking like. I'm gonna just ink up the edges of this with, actually I was gonna do the candy ink, and then I took out the grape, but no big deal. As long as it has some color to it, right? All right, so there's that. So I'm just gonna add some glue to the top of this little piece of cardstock. And I think I want to have it far enough down so that I can at least put a little bit of the sign on that hill, just so it has some stability. So I think that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to put it kind of crooked. I don't want it completely straight. So I'm going to put some glue here at the bottom, and then we'll glue this whole thing down towards the bottom. That's cute. I like that. So let me just press that down so that that stays. So I decided that this sign needs some jelly beans. It needs something here. So I just went ahead and stamped out some of those jelly beans that were in the same, what was it, the Eggs for Easter stamp set. And then just die cut those out. I'm just gonna add some jelly beans just here along the bottom, because it just needs something. I feel like it's missing something. I guess you could also put some grass in there, but we're just gonna put a couple jelly beans there. That's adorable. And I'm gonna add one more, even though you're not gonna be able to see it, but I'm gonna put one behind the eggs. Just because there's a lot of space there. I think that's super cute. So that completes my card. If you liked this tutorial, give me a like and be sure to leave me a comment and let me know what you thought. And if you're interested in these stamps, these 2 stamps here are on HSN. Everything else you can get on the Stamps of Life website, and I'll have links to that below. But you can see it will fold flat for mailing. Isn't that adorable? I love this. And then it stands up for, it could stand up for display. So whoever receives this, they can put that on their table to display it. Isn't that cute? All right, thanks so much for watching, everyone, and be sure to subscribe for more card making tutorials. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.